Welcome to Azeroth United, a weekly podcast about World of Warcraft. My name is Denethar, and I am your host.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. It's Sunday afternoon in Azeroth, and we have a great show lined up for you today. We're going to be talking about the DDoS attacks that hit the hardcore community pretty hard last weekend, and the resulting fallout of that, as well as talking about some patch 11.1.5 changes that are coming in, and a couple of other things. Voting for our favorite Season 3 Mythic Plus dungeon, and a bunch more. So pull up a chair, sit back, relax, and enjoy. And before I get to anything else, I wanted to discuss So I was originally going to talk about the DDoS attacks here in the what's going on in World of Warcraft right now, but this turned into a much bigger conversation, and so I'm going to handle this with the main topic of the week. However, there is something else that I wanted to bring up, and so one of the segments that I've been wanting to introduce for a while now is the forum post of the week, and the forum post of the week is a Reddit post, a WoW forum, a TikTok, a YouTube video, something that happened over the week that I can discuss and relate and what will kind of something lighthearted, generally speaking, but it doesn't always have to be. This one actually happened about a week and a half ago, and so if you don't know, if you haven't seen this already, there was a TikTok posted on March 18th about a shadow priest on the Anniversary Realms, one of the PvP server, or the PvP server, named Chimney Time. It was an undead shadow priest. He was standing on the roof of the building in Duskwood, right next to the flight path. So I think that's like the where you pick up the quest for Legend of Stalvin and whatnot. I forget which quest it is, but so he's standing up there. Obviously, it's a PvP zone, and or a contested zone, and as players get off the flight path, he would mind control them and force them, through mind control, to jump into the chimney that is on the building. Now, once you are inside of the chimney, you can't get out. You can't jump your way out. So as soon as you're in there, he'd break mind control and you're trapped. If you have your Hearthstone available, you can Hearth. Otherwise, you are stuck there. And it's a group of people that were stuck inside of this chimney. Now, the reason that I want to mention this is because right off the bat is because, yes, it is annoying. And it is, if you're one of the people that got stuck, it's annoying. But you have to appreciate, one, the cleverness and the inventiveness of this player to not only think of this strategy to put people in the chimney, but to name his character Chimney Time. How do you come up with this? Right. He planned this in advance, like way in advance. He was like, I've got this idea. I've got this idea for a movie. Anyway, the TikTok is hilarious, and there's been several reaction videos to it, and even people doing their own version of it with a different character. So while, yes, it can be frustrating when things like this happen to you, watching it happen to other people is actually quite funny and hilarious. So I just wanted to say, Chimney Time, if you're out there, well played, my friend. Well played. All right. Yeah, so it's been quite the week in World of Warcraft. Like I said, we had those DDoS attacks last week, and man, that took up a lot of the news cycle, especially as the Race to World First has been kind of dying down, and the Season 2 is just kind of cruising along. So there's really not a whole lot of news in retail WoW right now. Patch 11.1.5 is still a couple weeks out, probably. And so, yeah, the big news of the week, of course, was the DDoS attacks, but we'll get into that a little bit later because I wanted to go into a little bit more, not just in depth into what the attacks mean, but from a technical standpoint, what exactly is a DDoS attack, and what a lot of people have been calling for Blizzard to do more to protect players, and I do understand that. So we'll get into all that as we get through the show. For me, last week was kind of an interesting week. So on Sunday, after the DDoS attacks happened, because I was logged on, but I wasn't really doing much. My wife was in the other room, and she's like, "Hey, is our internet down?" And I was like, no, it seems like it's fine. And she's like, I'm in a delve and I can't do anything. So I started looking at it, and I saw that the latency was like spiking out of control. And I thought, wow, that's weird. And I started trying to, I put on my technician hat, right? I was like, well, I'm going to troubleshoot this from a technical standpoint. I'm going to do a ping test and then run a speed test and then do whatever. I'm not a network engineer. But so I started looking into it, and then somewhere in the back of my mind, I remembered the post from Reddit that I saw. I was like, what time does OnlyFans raid? Because there was a DDoS attack today, and I want to know if they're going to have another one tomorrow. So I don't want to be on at that time. And a lot of people kind of made the joke of, oh, that's just something the DDoSer would say or whatever. Well, it turns out that was it. So after all that had happened, I logged off because I was like, well, this is dumb. I'm going to go do something else. And I did, because that's what you do when you're a real adult, and you can say, well, this video game is this is not playable right now. I'm going to find another activity to engage in. I think I went and threw the ball for the dog for a while, but anyway, the point is, it got me started thinking about Classic. And I've talked about on this show several times that I really wanted to play my anniversary character, but I haven't had the motivation. So I made a mage, and the mage is fun because you can do AoE farming. The problem with AoE farming now is that everybody knows how to AoE farm. So you go to all of the spots that everyone tells you to go to. Oh, this is the best spot for AoE farming. Yeah, everybody else knows that too. And so I have been getting really frustrated because you go in there and you fight with whoever's there for mobs, or they leave you the group with the caster. And so it's no longer a quick, efficient way to level. I've actually thought about it. I'm like, I might as well just respec fire and run dungeons because this is ridiculous. But I had the thought. I was like, well, maybe I'm playing the wrong class. Because one, I've never been a big mage player in Classic. And two, if the anniversary servers are going to Burning Crusade next, I don't want to be playing a mage in Burning Crusade. That's not what I'm interested in. So I looked at who I had, and I have the warrior. I have Denethar the warrior. And I was like, well, I guess I could do that, but I don't really feel like tanking. And if you're playing a warrior, everyone's going to want you to tank unless you're focusing on DPS. So I have a hunter who's level 15. And I was like, well, I'll play the hunter then. So I jumped on the hunter, started going. And before I knew it, I was like 21 or something. I was like, well, I better run the dead mines before I outlevel it. So I ran the dead mines. I've just been tearing it up. I mean, not like speed running or anything. I don't do that. I'm very casual when I play World of Warcraft. But yeah, he's level 30 now. I'm getting him ready for Gnome Ragon, which I'll probably hit in a couple levels. I wanted to try and do Black Fathom Deeps, but there's just no groups. I think people got burnt out in Season of Discovery, and they're like, well, it's not a raid now, so I don't care. Because it's kind of out of the way. So whatever. But yeah, I did the stockades. I did a stockades group. I did it twice. First time I did it, we had a paladin tank who said in the very beginning, I'm a new tank. Please be patient. Cool. No problem, man. I'm happy to see people trying to learn how to tank. Well, he was not completely aware of how to paladin tank. He had a general idea, but he was definitely struggling. And one of the druids and I think it was a warlock. Was it a warlock or a mage? Either way, two of the DPS just they had no patience for it. So we got through the first two bosses, Targor and oh gosh, what's his name? Dextrin Ward. We got through two bosses, and then they split because we wiped. And I felt bad because this guy, he's not just a new tank. He's actually new to WoW. I was talking to him afterwards, and it's a new WoW player. And I thought, this is why we have a tank shortage, because one, a brand new player who's like, cool, let me check this out. And two, let me try and tank. And then everybody treats him like shit. And I felt bad. So I was like, hey, man, don't worry about it. You were doing great. If you need anything, just hit me up. Whatever. So I thought, I'll add him to friends, and he added me to friends, and if we want to run something down the road, this is the problem that I see so often with Classic, is that people get so impatient, and it's like, the Classic is not a game for the impatient. If you're playing Classic WoW, you need to have your patience is your number one stat. That's your BIS stat. Patience is meta. You have to be patient. Whether it's the warrior tank, being patient for the warrior tank who's sundering on mobs, or the druid tank who can only swipe 3 mobs at a time. I mean, you have to be patient. So yeah, I felt bad, but at the same time, I was like, you know what? At least, hopefully, I gave this guy a good interaction with another player. I did feel really bad for him. So, yeah. So anyway, the hunter is level 30. Getting him going with it's fun. I'm having fun. Clearing out zones. I did the wetlands. I did the Duskwood. Duskwood's always my favorite. I've actually got all the quests for like Morlatum and Morbent Fell and all that stuff. So that's my absolute hands down favorite zone in vanilla is Duskwood. So yeah, so that's where we are. So I've got Cenarion the Hunter, Cenarion with an S. I don't know why I did that. It irritates me, but it's his name now, so I am stuck with it. Once you get to level 30, you can't start over. It's too late. You gotta just keep going at that point. Yeah, so I've got that going. As far as retail goes, in the Undermine patch and all that fun stuff, I did. Let's see, we cleared 5 bosses. So we've got 5 done, and this was on Tuesday. We did a couple of attempts on Mythic Vexy, which was okay. I think our damage is a little low, and people weren't quite understanding the mechanics, because you got to soak the oils, and then you got to drop it on the bikes, and you got to get 2 bikes or 2 oils on the bike before you can send it in on the boss. So we were struggling with that, because we would have 4 bikes with 1 of 2 oils on all 4 of them. So I don't know. We'll see. I didn't make raid Thursday because it was my mother-in-law's birthday, and so my wife and I went to her house and made her dinner, flounder with quinoa and roasted squash. It was really good. So and she was very, very happy. We drank several bottles of wine, so that was really nice. So yeah, I missed raid Thursday, which of course they cleared One-Armed Bandit and Muggsy on Thursday, but that's okay. Hopefully I'll be able to get in for a Gallywix kill, get my AOTC. That'll be really nice. I haven't done any Mythic Plus at all this week. So like I said, it's Sunday afternoon. I'm just not, I've been playing Classic. That's sorry guild. Yeah, so maybe I'll try and get a couple in tonight. We'll see. Yeah, so that's pretty much it for what's going on for me. I don't think, yeah, it's been raining like crazy here in Ohio, so I'm just trying to stay dry. So anyway, we've got some news, and then I want to get into the main topic. I don't know what the how in depth I want to get on this, because I've got some notes and some ideas on the DDoS, but I know that explaining in detail network distributed network attacks could be a little boring. So we'll see how it goes. So anyway, we do have a lot to talk about, so let's get into it.
It's time for the news.
In Blizzard news, so Blizzard hit us with a pretty big one a couple days ago. Vote for your favorite War Within dungeon. Winners included in Season 3 Mythic Plus. Really? A couple things here. First of all, in case you are not clear, you need to vote for your favorite Mythic Plus dungeon that you want included in Season 3 Mythic Plus pool. So that's Arakara, Cinderbrew Meadery, City of Threads, Darkflame Cleft. Operation Floodgate is included. Priory of the Sacred Flame, Dawnbreaker, the Rookery, and the Stone Vault. Now, here's the thing. If you have a poll that you're asking your audience, hey, what do you guys want to do? You're inviting, one, trolls, obviously. That's a big part of it. And two, people who go, oh, I like the loot from this dungeon. They don't necessarily like the dungeon. They just want the loot. So you see people voting for Priory or for Arakara because they want the trinkets. I don't like this type of thing where Blizzard asks the community to vote. Now, they did say in here that if it's close, if there's a tie or a near tie, they will be the ones to decide the tiebreaker. So I get that. So they can kind of apply some developer logic and go, yeah, okay, we're not going to do, geez, I can't even remember the one from Warlords of Draenor, the train one. We're not going to do that this time around. So I am really interested though, because here's the deal. In the past, what we did was we go, the last two expansions actually have been like this. So Shadowlands and in Dragonflight. So we had our Mythic Plus pools, and then season 3 we introduced the Mega Dungeon into the Mythic Plus pool, and then in season 4 we had the kind of a mix of different ones. And in Dragonflight we did the same thing or similar thing, where we had the first 4 dungeons and then some old ones, and then the second 4 dungeons and then some old ones. And then we added in the Mega Dungeon, the Dawn of the Infinite, and 6 old ones. And then they brought back all the original ones, or the original Dragonflight dungeons for season 4. I think that the reason they're doing this for season 3, and remember, we voted for which Warlords of Draenor dungeon we wanted in Grimrail Depot, by the way, which Warlords of Draenor dungeon we wanted in season 4 of Shadowlands. I think that's what we're doing. I think season 3 is going to be the final season for The War Within, which is what I've said from the beginning, but I think this is just another piece of evidence that this will be the final season. We won't get a season 4 this time around. I really think what's going to happen is that we're going to get Midnight sometime in the beginning of next year. February, March, April-ish. And season 3 will just kind of peter out from The War Within. So we won't see an extended 10, 12, 14 week season at the end of it to kind of extend out the expansion. I think we're just going to get our normal 24, 25 week season, and then that'll be that. Maybe it'll be a little longer, maybe a 27 week season, something. But I can't imagine that Blizzard is going to do another season 4. People just don't like that. We'll get the final raid, we'll get the whatever the ethereal raid is going to be, and that'll be that, and then we'll move on. So I think this is a good thing. I think it's positive that Blizzard really wants to give us some choice in it, but at the same time, I know that WoW players, by and large, are not always the best decision makers. Just calling it like I see it. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see what we end up with, and yeah, we'll see how it goes. So vote for your favorite The War Within dungeon. I will put the link to the poll in the show notes, or you can just Google search for it if you want. So far, there's been 10,000 votes, 10,000 something votes. Hopefully we get a lot more than that, because I wouldn't like 10,000 players to decide the dungeon pool for however many players are out here. So, yeah, there we go. All right. Moving on. That one was weird. I was not expecting that, honestly. That one took me by surprise. So, okay. So Blizzard, or no, let me rephrase this. Wowhead have data mined an asset on the PTR for 11.1.5. 11.1.5 is the new patch. It's the Nightfall patch. It's going to kind of set the story in motion for the rest of the War Within and probably introduce us into the Midnight expansion, blah, 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 blah. One of the things that they data mined in there was a quest log asset for Legion quests. So the asset is actually called Quest Log Campaign Headers Legion. So it's a green with the little Illidari, I think it's the Illidari logo, or maybe it's the Burning Legion logo. Regardless, it's a Legion looking logo on there, and it's something that's been added to the PTR. Now, Blizzard add things to the PTR all the time that are not ready for the game. So I don't think that this is for any sort of thing to happen right now. I think this is definitely for something that's going to happen in a few months when we get Legion Remix. Blizzard have not confirmed that we're getting Legion Remix. They are just hinting very heavily at it. WoW had quoted in their article from Holly Longdale, players have been asking us, Mists of Pandaria was my favorite expansion, and we've been going back there in Modern and Classic. Legion was my favorite expansion. We're going back there and experiencing it in a new way, so we listen, and that's sort of the new mode and the new call for us to listen to our players and take them back and experience this content that they may have experienced in the past, but in a new way and in a bit of a fresh look. So, I mean, if that's not confirmation that we're getting Legion Remix, and this is from a few months ago, but yeah, so that's coming. So I'm hoping that we'll get some sort of an announcement soon, because I'd really like to be able to talk about Legion Remix and think about what we're going to do and what our plans are going to be and all that sort of thing. So, and I'd love to get some people on the show to talk about Remix as well. So, yeah, hopefully we'll get a confirmation here in the next couple months or so. But if not, I guess we'll wait. But yeah, I'm expecting to get something Legion Remixy in the next month or two. At least an announcement. So, and then probably actually get the remix itself towards the end of the year, maybe around Christmas time. So, yeah, we'll see. All right, moving on. The April trading post has been revealed by Blizzard. Oh, this one's tough because I love the Dark Moon Fair. The Dark Moon Fair is one of my favorite events in the game. I like the fair itself. I don't necessarily like the Dark Moon Fair aesthetic. I don't want to wear the fair. I want to go to the fair in my clothes and experience everybody else wearing the ridiculous outfits and using the ridiculous eyeball themed things from the fair. That's what I want. Blizzard have given us Dark Moon Fair themed weapons and armor and a horse. I don't know how I feel about this. This is the third trading post in a row that I'm kind of like, I don't really want this stuff. And I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying that we shouldn't have this. I'm just saying this isn't necessarily what I want. So I am hoping that maybe there's some real other cool things on there. But if not, I'm just going to keep saving my tendies because this is not my jam. I'm sure there are going to be plenty of people out there who want Dark Moon Fair themed gear, transmog and whatnot. But anyway, so we've got the the Dark Moon Charger is a new mount that we're going to get. It's actually kind of cool looking, but I can never see myself riding this thing. Just no. We do have the Forest Dwellers Rooted attire, which is like a garden gnome transmog set, which again, if you're going for that, great. But I don't want to run around as a garden gnome. I don't know. Maybe if I was playing a Tauren, I would do it. Yeah, that's probably the only way I would do it. Tauren or a Kultiran. Yeah. And then the Traveler's Log reward is the Topsy-Turvy mask set. And it's 2 Dark Moon Fair looking masks that are headpieces that we will be able to get as well. I guess at least it's not a wristwatch. I don't know. I like the wristwatch. I use it on some of my characters. Yeah, so be prepared for the full Dark Moon Fair showing up on Tuesday. It'll probably pop on. Well, it'll be available after reset. So here in the US, but yeah, Tuesday Dark Moon Fair. I'm sorry, Tuesday Trading Post Dark Moon Fair themed. It's gonna get confusing. Yeah, so check it out. And if you like the stuff in there, tell me, please, because I'm not saying I dislike any of it. I'm saying I don't necessarily like it. So that's fine. I don't have to like it. And maybe I'll see something that I do like and I'll be like, I have to have this axe with an eyeball on it or something. I don't know. All right. The Arena World Championships will kick off this week, starting on April 2nd. It's going to go through the weekend, and then we'll have 3 weeks of cup play, and then we will get the finals coming up after that. What Blizzard have said is, for Undermined, we are moving the 3 qualification cups in Season 2 that will lead into the Arena World Championship Gauntlet and Grand Finals with a $200,000 USD prize pool. We're making these changes with new exciting programming we're planning to introduce with an eye on bringing cross-region competition back for PvP later in the year. Don't know what that means, but we will see. Beginning today, teams in Europe and North America can sign up for the Raider.io for the War Within Season 2 Cups, which you can't anymore. It's already closed. But I just wanted to point this out. They'll earn the new Prize Champions Prestigious banner as they battle for their chance to advance to the Grand Finals. The banner will be exclusively available via the Arena World Championship program by registering for the online cups. There will be 3 open cups per region, where teams will compete for points and for $20,000 USD prize money per cup. Following the cups and the Arena World Championship Gauntlet, the remaining 4 teams in each region will face off in the Season 2 Grand Finals for their share of the combined $200,000 USD prize pool. I mean, not bad. I'd say that if there was any WoW esports that has a chance to really do something long term, it's the Arena World Championships, but only if Blizzard is willing to make some changes to it. I don't know what those changes are because I don't PvP, but I feel like in its current iteration, it's pretty good. But in order for it to truly take off, if Blizzard really wants to make esports a thing, which I don't know if they do, but if they really want this to happen, they're going to have to tweak it somehow and make it just a little bit better so that people can go, oh yeah, I like this. As it stands right now, I don't think that it's really getting the traction it needs. I mean, $200,000 prize pool is nothing to sneeze at. But I'm just saying from a attention standpoint, it's just not quite getting the attention it needs. So we'll see. We'll see if Blizzard is able to do anything with it in the future. And if so, great. I think that'd be awesome. I think that would be good for the game for us to have a good, strong esport. That's my 3rd or 4th choice of esports for WoW. Race to World first, MDI, and the Great Push. I like them all better. But I do think that objectively, I can look at the Arena World Championship and say, this is probably the one with the best chance to succeed long term. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see what it does. I mean, get crazy, Blizzard. Do crazy stuff. Make arena, do an arena and Overwatch themed crossover event. Why not? You have both IPs. Come up with, put Overwatch characters into the arena. Oh my gosh, that would be amazing. I actually now I want this. Or Diablo characters. Oh gosh, forget it. Never mind. This is getting out of control. Yeah. So there you go. Arena World Championships will be kicking off this week. So check those out. You can go to Raider.io to get the link, or I think it's going to be broadcast on YouTube and on Twitch. So you'll be able to get all that from there. Okay, so Blizzard announced a hotfix for Fortified, for the Fortified Affix. What they said is fix an issue that caused non-boss creatures to inflict more damage than intended while the Fortified Affix is active during Season 2. In other words, oops, program error. The mobs were hitting too hard. So it's been nerfed into where it's supposed to be. So it's not actually a nerf. It's just been fixed. And the mobs should be hitting less hard or less damage, which is cool. I guess. I mean, it's fun. I haven't done any Mythic Plus with Fortified yet because I haven't done any 7s, but yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, there we go. Okay, finally the Warcraft 30 anniversary in Boston. I didn't mention this last week, and I should have. The Boston event will be on May 10th, and it's the Warcraft 30 celebration. I looked long and hard at this because I live in Ohio, and there's no way I could reasonably make it work because Boston is a 13-hour drive from where I live. That's just a little much to go. If it was an 8-hour drive, I could see it happening. But 13, that's a lot. Tickets, the first wave of tickets is already sold out. That was released on March 27th. But they will be releasing additional waves. So keep an eye out for that if you really want to go. I know I've seen people online talking about it, and the ones that people have gone to in other countries have all been amazing. Supposedly, I guess it's like a big meet and greet. It's more of a networking event than a BlizzCon presentation type event. So if that's something you're interested in, I would definitely check it out. There's only one in the States. I don't have the list in front of me of where the other ones are, but yeah, definitely if there's one coming to your country and you have the time, I would definitely go check it out. So, all right, let's talk about what's going on this week in World of Warcraft. This is The War Within Season 2, Week 5. We're already in Week 5, people. The Mythic Plus affixes for the week. +4 affix is Pulsar. Orbs spawn around players and orbit them at a fixed distance. Other players must soak the orbs. And the +7 affix is Tyrannical. You know it, you hate it, you hate to see it. Tyrannical bosses have 25% more health and deal 15% more damage. Yeah, that's it. It's Tyrannical. Yeah, Pulsar, I mean, from what I've seen, it's pretty good. I didn't do Pulsar when it was around the first time, but I'm definitely going to try and get some 4s in this week. So unless I get busy playing Classic. Yeah, so definitely check out your Mythic Pluses for the week. The bonus event this week is the Warlords of Draenor Time Walking event. You'll get the Sign of the Iron buff, which increases Warlords of Draenor reputation from combat and quests by 50%. You will get the quest A Savage Path Through Time from Archivist Vithrune in Dornogal to defeat 5 Time Walking dungeons for a piece of Hero Track raid gear. The dungeon pool includes Auchindoun, the Bloodmaw Slag Mines, the Everbloom, Grimrail Depot, Shadowmoon Burial Grounds, and Skyreach. Yeah, Warlords of Draenor. Woohoo. I'm kind of over Time Walking at this point. I'm just like, Honestly, the Turbulent Time Ways has burnt me out on Time Walking. I don't have the energy for it. It's just true. It's how it is. The PvP brawl for the week is Packed House. We've put more PvP in your PvP in Packed House. There's nowhere to hide as you face not 2, not 3, not 5, but 15 adversaries in this 15v15 arena battle. This one's pretty wild. When you zone in, you'll get the quest Something Different to win a PvP brawl, and you'll be rewarded with Conquest, Honor, and Marks of Honor. Other events this week, the Dark Moon Fair will be in town from April 6th through April 12th. You know the Dark Moon Fair, and like I said earlier, I love the fair. I just hate I don't want to wear the fair aesthetic. So check out the Dark Moon Fair. You can ride the merry-go-round or the roller coaster and get the XP and reputation buff. You can do your knowledge point quests and skill point quests if you haven't maxed your profession skills. You can do the repeatable quests, get shot out of the cannon, control the little mini tank, and I mean it's fun. I like going to the fair. It's a good, whimsical, relaxing evening activity that I enjoy. Just go and hang out at the fair, or honestly, sometimes on like a Saturday morning as the fair is about to end, you just kind of go there. It's almost abandoned. Nobody's there anymore. I like the fair. It's fun. Definitely check it out. If you are really concerned about your professions, that's really the best, because it's free knowledge points basically. So just make sure that if you haven't done it before, make sure your profession, some of the professions have things that you need to take with you, and most of them are like vanilla type reagents. Just look it up on Wowhead. for your profession's Dark Moon Fair leatherworking or whatever, because you will have to take some things with you. So if you get there and you go, oh, I don't have these things, yeah, you have to go back, get them, and then go back to the fair. So you're better off to just take them first time. So, and speaking of just light and whimsical, the March of the Tadpoles micro holiday will be in the Borean Tundra on April 5th. This is it's like the definition of a micro holiday. There's no achievement, there's no mount, there's no reward. You don't get a pet, there's no companion, there's nothing. You just go, and there's tadpoles running everywhere. You click on one, you do a quest, you do a couple of objectives, and you're done. King Murgle is there. If you remember King Murgle from Wrath of the Lich King. Yeah, and that's it. That's the whole thing. So if you want something light and fun and whimsical that you can do, they're cute. The Murloc tadpoles are cute. So if you want to go do that, I would say check it out. April 5th. That's the day to go. It's fun. I like stuff like that. That's what makes WoW better than any other MMO, is that they have these little things that serve no purpose other than just it's fun. And I know the other games have that sort of thing too, but I just like WoWs because, I'm a WoW player. So, right. Okay. That's going to wrap up the news. I know there was some other stuff out there this week, but like I said, kind of a light news week. Things are kind of in steady mode until we get patch 11.1.5. We'll probably do a patch features overview in a couple weeks as the patch gets ready to come out. I've been checking stuff out on the PTR. It looks really good. I'll tell you, it looks really good, but I don't want to get into that right now because that's not the focus for today. So, all right, let's move on to the main topic of the week. And like I said, I am going to talk some technical stuff. If that's not what you're interested in, I get it. I can put timestamps in there where it's like, here's where I'm talking about the technical stuff. If you want to skip over that, it's fine. But just know that I want to explain this from a standpoint of everybody understanding it who plays WoW. So anyway, all right, we'll get into that.
It's time for the main topic of the week.
So like I said, Sunday afternoon, I'm sitting there playing World of Warcraft. I was sitting in Dornogal. I wasn't really doing anything. My wife called me and said, hey, is our internet down? Because I'm getting really bad lag. So I checked it out. After poking around, I remembered that OnlyFangs was getting DDoSed on their last raid. So I checked, and sure enough, OnlyFangs was getting DDoSed in Blackwing Lair. And not only were they getting DDoSed in Blackwing Lair, they were getting disconnected on the Ebon Rock fight of all fights. So several people got disconnected, couldn't get back in. Some people didn't bother to come back in because they're like, as soon as I log back in, I'm going to die. Some of the people made it out. Some were able to get out of there. It was so bad that some of the streamers were trying to Hearthstone and they couldn't. There was just spinning and nothing was happening. There was no escape. All told, 17 players died. 17 characters died. The players themselves didn't die. 17 characters died in the attempt. Now, this was just OnlyFangs, right? Which is obviously the most high profile of the hardcore guilds that raid. There were other hardcore guilds that had almost like 100% wipe, 100% death rate on their wipes. It was bad. It was really bad. People were pissed because they had already gone through this on Saturday. And so after the raid, whoever made it out. Some people didn't even bother to log back in. Soda Poppin, the GM of OnlyFangs, released a post on Discord that made its way onto Reddit and Twitter, basically saying if this is the game that we're playing, if this is how the game is going to be, then there's no future for OnlyFangs. So we're going to wrap it up. That's it. We're done. Which is unfortunate because it is drawing a lot of attention for the game. And look, let's be honest. People aren't tuning into Twitch to watch Mythic Plus streams. Like, it happens, people do, but you watch Mythic Plus streams because you want to watch your favorite streamer. You want to watch, your Dratnos, your Megaset, your Growl, your Dorky, whoever, right? But for just good old World of Warcraft content. Hardcore has been carrying the burden for Twitch for quite some time for World of Warcraft. So the fact that we lost so many of these characters in a raid from, it seems like I'm minimizing it by calling it shenanigans, but it's, I don't know. DDoS attacks are ridiculous because it's just the same thing that the game is already doing. It's just doing it a lot more. And I'm going to explain a little bit about DDoS. You might know already what a DDoS attack is and how it works. You might not. I don't know. But I work in IT. My real job is I am a system engineer in IT. I work for a hospital, and I have to deal with a lot of things that I never even had thought of before because IT is variable. Sometimes you get things that happen. You go, where did that come from? And so you have to do a lot of research. You have to do a lot of digging. You have to understand things that you never thought about before. And DDoS is one of those things. So a DDoS attack, for those who are not aware, from a technical standpoint, if you have a server, and your server could be your website, it could be your login server, your Battle.net server, it could be your world server for World of Warcraft. Whatever your server is, if you have that, it has to be able to communicate across a network. And any two computers connected to each other is a network, even if that connection bounces through several different locations, like the internet. So I'm technically networked with Blizzard servers through the internet, but it is a network. And so anytime you have a network, the way that it operates is, and I'm going to try and do this at the most basic level. And if there's any network engineers that listen to this and you're screaming at me, dude, you're explaining it wrong, I'm sorry. I'm trying to do this in a very layman friendly way. Any computer system that communicates on the internet, it uses something called packets, and that packet contains certain information. It might be your location. It might be what you searched for on Google, who's playing, who is Channing Tatum playing in Avengers Doomsday. Okay, that's a packet, and it goes out to Google, and Google gets that packet, and they might get several packets for one search: your location, what you searched for, what page you came from. There's different things that can be included in a packet. It's a small chunk of information that gets sent. So everything that you do in WoW, if you hit a button, type one, hello friend, /wave, running across the wetlands, hearthstoning, whatever you're doing in game, all of these actions are being sent to a Blizzard server. And then the Blizzard server gets it, processes it, and then sends it back to you and says that your character did this. And this all happens instantly. It's very fast. And so if you have thousands of players who are all logged into World of Warcraft at the same time, and they're all sending commands at various points. Some people are in Mythic Plus and they're spamming keys. Some people are just typing with their friends. Some people are RPing. Whatever it is you're doing, you're sending commands to Blizzard. And Blizzard is also pulling information from your client. So it's checking to see where you are in the game. You know how if you're on your dragon riding mount and sometimes you'll hit a weird little bump and your game will freeze and you'll get disconnected. It's because Blizzard can't figure out where you are in that microsecond. It goes, I'm not sure where this guy is. Better disconnect in case he's cheating. I know that sounds ridiculous when you look at all of the bots that are flying around in Classic, but that is why that happens. If all of the players at once were doing things, if every single server was full of World of Warcraft players and they were all doing things all at the same time, the servers would lag. Just because you can't build a network for maximum usage. You just can't, because then you're spending so much money on something that's never going to be used or rarely is going to be used. Yeah, okay, so you have more people logged on during an expansion launch than you would on a Tuesday in the middle of a season of WoW. Okay, so you have to build your servers to be flexible so that they can expand and contract based on usage, which is why we have shards and things like that. But at its heart, you can't build WoW to contain the entirety of the World of Warcraft player base. It's just too big. So that's the basics of how World of Warcraft works. You send a communication, it goes back and forth between you and the game server across the internet, constant communication between the two. Here's where I am, here's the button I pushed, here's what this pig is moving over here, somebody just flew in from this direction. You're constantly getting updates on everything that's going on in the game. That's what makes an MMO so interesting, is that you have all of these updates that are happening about everything that's going on. Things that you have no interest in are happening all around you. If you look in your combat log, you can see so many things going on. This person's crafting, this person's running in circles, this person's spamming nonsense in trade chat. There's all sorts of things going on, and this communication goes back and forth from the server to the client. Now, let's say that I'm a bad guy and I don't like Blizzard because maybe I'm like, oh, you know what? Bobby's got too many yachts. I don't think he should have so many yachts. And I'm not informed enough to know that he's no longer with the company. So that's just, I'm mad at Blizzard. Okay. So what am I going to do? So, maybe I think, I'm going to bring down their service so nobody can play the game and everyone will think Blizzard's terrible, and I'll finally get my revenge. So if I were to say, I'm going to write a script on my computer, a little piece of code that says, hey, send this command to Blizzard, and I'm just going to do it over and over and over again. I'm just going to have this thing run instantly. It just spams their servers with the same thing over and over again. And so I'm going to send that, and then I'm going to wait for a response, and then it's just going to continue on, right? Really basic. Obviously, there's a lot more in-depth into it than that, but you understand from a conceptual standpoint, that's really all it is. You're sending a request and you're expecting a response. So if you send those requests just over and over and over again, the server on Blizzard's side has to check each one and go, what do they want? Oh, they want this? Okay. Oh, what do they want? They want this? Okay. And it just keeps doing that over and over and over again. Now, if you have no protection against a denial of service attack, your systems will come to a halt because they can't handle that. But Blizzard does have protections against the denial of service attack. So they'll be able to say, hey, this attack's coming from this location, from this address. Let's block it, or let's redirect that traffic, or let's bypass it. They have ways to prevent that from occurring. So they see where I'm coming from and they say, okay, let's kill it out. So I'm frustrated now because I really want Blizzard to pay the price for whatever I feel that they've done wrong. So I will go and walk around my cul-de-sac and I will tell all my neighbors, hey, I really need you guys to run this little piece of code. And it's because I hate Blizzard Entertainment and I just need you to run it. And can you just, put it on your laptop or your computer or whatever and just go. And of course, because everyone in the cul-de-sac loves me, they'll say yes. So I initiate my attack. So this is no longer just me doing it. This is no longer a denial of service attack. This is a distributed denial of service attack because it's distributed across several endpoints. So you have a multi-vector attack going at Blizzard. And so they can look at it and say, oh, these attacks are all coming from the same location. So we're going to redirect all traffic from that location, or we're going to analyze it in a different way. They have defenses against that because it's all coming from the same place. So as an example, if I was, say, in Russia or China and I was doing this sort of thing, they'd be able to say, hey, this region is having this issue. We'll deal with that appropriately. Well, I'm really frustrated now because they've been thwarting all of my attacks. So now I need this to occur globally, not just from everywhere in Ohio or everywhere in the United States. I'm talking everywhere across the world. I need computers all over the world to attack Blizzard all at the same time. And how do you do this? Well, I don't have the ability to do this because I'm actually dumb. But what a lot of these people do, a lot of these, we'll call them bad actors, people who act in bad faith, what they do is they write malicious software that they put on the internet for people to find. And maybe it'll be a link to a video. Oh, cat jumps over a sofa and claws owner or something. And so you click on it and it doesn't work. And you're like, what's going on? Oh, you just downloaded malware. Good job. So that malware that goes onto your computer will just sit there. It doesn't do anything. It's just waiting. But it's also, if it will receive a command from whoever wrote the malware, it will do whatever it was designed to do. And they call that a botnet. Okay. And I know World of Warcraft players know what a bot is. Okay. I know y'all know what that is. A bot in this case is a computer that is running a piece of code without the owner of that computer's knowledge or permission. Okay. This is highly illegal. So don't ever do this. If somebody ever tries to get you to do this, don't do it. But if you put this malware on, let's say, 50,000 computers, because 50,000 people were dumb enough to click on the link that said, check out this picture of Channing Tatum as Gambit in Avengers Doomsday, which obviously it doesn't exist yet because they haven't filmed it yet, but you just can't wait. And so you click on it because you're like, oh, this is gonna be so good. Malware. Now you've got malware or virus. If you want to call it a virus, you can call it a virus, but malware is a more technically accurate term because it's not actually a virus. It's just a piece of code on your computer. It's a software that is malicious. That's where the term malware comes from. So now you can execute a global distributed denial of service attack. You can attack Blizzard from all of these computers all over the world, all at the same time. Everybody at this time attack Blizzard servers. Now, Blizzard has defenses, like I said, they have ways to block this, but if it's thousands and thousands and thousands of attacks coming in, they've got to go through each one of those, determine if it's valid traffic, because if you're Blizzard, you don't want to just block traffic. You go, oh, this person sent a bunch of requests, let's block them. Maybe they're just doing Mythic Plus and they're spamming keys. You don't know. So you have to be able to analyze the traffic. And so this is where companies have started using things like AI and machine learning to look at traffic and say, is this valid traffic or not? And that's something that's really difficult to do. But they are getting better at it. And so Blizzard has things in place that will monitor this traffic. However, in the meantime, it's going on and it's going on and it's going on. So even if you are able to thwart a DDoS attack quickly, that doesn't mean that it won't disrupt your service, right? So, yeah, I know, like I said, this is a very technical topic, and I'm trying to avoid really getting into the weeds with the technical stuff. But I wanted people to understand because, like, when I was talking about this with my daughter, and she said that in Marvel Rivals, when Bucky uses his ult, people call it a DDoS attack because it causes lag for all the other players. I'm like, that's not a DDoS attack, but I get it, but that's not a DDoS attack. And she gets it, but yeah. So DDoS it's a very specific thing and it's highly illegal, and whoever's doing it knows that it's illegal. They'll probably never get caught, because the thing with a distributed attack like this is you don't know where it's coming from. You don't know where the source of this is, because if the people who wrote the malware are good enough to have it hidden on all these computers, they're also good enough to cover their tracks as to where this command is originating from. So regardless, this happened. Several guilds wiped in Blackwing Lair. Only Fangs wiped, lost 17 characters. People were upset. People were livid because they were calling it the end of hardcore. And I don't blame them. If this is the type of thing that's going to happen in hardcore, people aren't going to want to play it. Somebody was saying that they were running around Ungoro on their mount, and suddenly they lagged out, and when they logged back into the game, they had just been killed by a Tar Lord. I mean, if that's not frustrating, I don't know. It's so infuriating that this is what we're dealing with. from a game standpoint, from a community standpoint, whoever's orchestrating these attacks on OnlyFans, and people were pointing to the pirate software guy because he had a falling out with OnlyFans. Shut up. All of you people shut up. This was not the pirate software guy. Sorry. It's absurd. So people were frustrated and they wanted answers from Blizzard. How come Blizzard can't defend against this? Well, like I just explained, from a technical standpoint, you can defend against it, but it's not instant. It's just not. You can't make a shield around the world that can detect all of these things instantly unless you build Ultron. And if you build Ultron, he's going to try and wipe out the world. So you don't want that. You don't want the shield around the earth. Sorry, that's another Avengers reference for you kids. But really, that's what it is. If you want an instant defense against DDoS attacks, and you want to be able to instantly find bots flying around in Classic, AI, that's your answer. And we don't want to do that. We don't want to give AI control of all of our games and services. That's not what we want to do. We want to have some level of control. This is why we still have umpires in Major League Baseball doing a bad job of calling balls and strikes, because we don't want to have the computer do it. We want people involved in our lives. We want people making decisions because we're not ready to yield that decision-making process to a computer, to artificial intelligence. So there is no, the point is, there's not a good defense against DDoS attacks. There's just not. You can stop them, but you cannot prevent them from happening. It's like saying, how do you prevent your store from being robbed? Well, you can't prevent the criminal from coming into your store. You can't, because your store has to be open for everybody to be able to come into the store. Now, unless that criminal is holding a gun and pointing, and when he walks in the store, and you can have a trap door that falls down and puts a cage on him or something, okay, but I mean, that's a little absurd, because how are you going to be able to trigger that instantly before that person jumps out of the way, right? So this is what I'm talking about. There's no way to prevent this, because Blizzard has to have their doors open 24/7, or, when it's not maintenance. They have to have their doors open for anybody to come in. If you have a WoW subscription, you have to be able to come in. And so that traffic needs to be open. And if a request comes into Blizzard, it has to be able to look at this and go, oh, this is an invalid request. Reject it. Don't respond. But it takes processing time to do that. And if you have to check that 1,000,000 times or 1,000,000,000 times because you're being spammed by so many bots on the botnet, that's going to slow down your systems. And that's what happens. So what the results of what happened with OnlyFans, and so let's move away a little bit from the technical side of it, because now that we understand what a DDoS attack is, what does it mean for the game? Because like I said, people were calling this the end of hardcore. Well, Blizzard realized that this was going to be a big problem, because large hardcore guilds weren't going to want to run raids, which is what was driving a lot of the traffic for hardcore on Twitch, which makes the game popular. So if you have all these streamers who are all of a sudden they're saying, WoW sucks, Blizzard can't defend its own game, I'm out of here, I'm going to go play something else, you're going to lose subscriptions, and they didn't want that. So they did their best job of damage control. And I don't know how I feel about this. I think it's a good thing. But they came out and they said basically, yeah, okay, we're gonna roll back because this is not okay. Kyvax put this post out. He said, "Greetings. Recently, we have experienced unprecedented distributed denial of service attacks that impacted many Blizzard games services, including Hardcore Realms, with the singular goal of disrupting players' experiences. As we continue our work to further strengthen the resilience of WoW Realms and our rapid response time, we're taking steps to resurrect player characters that were lost as a result of these attacks. Unlike the many other ways characters can die in hardcore, DDoS attacks are an intentionally malicious effort made by third-party bad actors, and we believe the severity and results of DDoS attacks specifically warrant a different response. In the future, Blizzard may elect, at our sole discretion, to revive hardcore characters that perish in a mass event which we deem inconsistent with the integrity of the game, such as a DDoS attack. Our broad stance on character restorations or death appeals has not changed. To be clear, we do not intend to revive characters which have died due to server disconnects, lag spikes, gameplay bugs, or any other reasons. Blizzard customer service cannot assist with issues related to characters who have died on Hardcore Realms. Thank you, as always, for your feedback. Clay Stone, Associate Production Director, WoW Classic. So there you go. That's the response from Blizzard. So they have already started restoring characters that were lost during the spike, the lag spike, the DDoS attack spike. This wasn't a lag spike, it was a DDoS attack. They've started restoring characters, which is great for people who lost their characters. But I think that the damage has already been done. I think a lot of these players they're just like, well, what's the point? If every time we try and raid, we're going to get DDoSed. And, Blackwing Lair, okay, in some cases it's recoverable. If you're an AQ, full wipe, you're done, gone. There's no chance. Even the trash in some of the pulls in there are nasty. Yeah, I don't see how Blizzard can restore the confidence in the player base. It's really a difficult situation because, like I said, there is no instant defense against a DDoS attack. There's nothing that Blizzard can do that says, hey, here's our DDoS preventer, and we've put it in now, and you're all good. Anything that you do that's going to analyze traffic at that scale is going to slow down the game so much that it's still going to be unplayable. You're going to create your own DDoS attack by trying to prevent against one. So it's the nature of the game. The way that type of gameplay is, an MMORPG has to be open for so much traffic. You cannot protect or prevent a DDoS attack. You just can't. You can go in and stop one while it's happening. There's things you can do, but to have it not be able to get in there at all, no, that's impossible. So what does this mean for World of Warcraft? I don't know. There were DDoS attacks during the Race to World First as well. It just wasn't as big of a deal because if that group wipes, it sucks for them, but they'll just get back in there and go again. But hardcore, you lose your character, and that feels terrible. It feels terrible. It's bad optics for the game, for the company. It's just a really bad situation for everyone. And I hope that Blizzard is able to do something to work through this, because these DDoS attacks are not going away, because people are still going to click on suspicious links foolishly and get a virus or malware, and this is not going away. And like I said, the ultimate solution of having Ultron in there to protect your game, I'm not willing to lay down my life for World of Warcraft, to have a killer robot come after me, a killer AI come after me. You know what I'm saying? We're not at a point from a humanity standpoint where we can impart actual decision making at that level to an artificial intelligence. We're not there. We need humans involved in the process, and not just because I work in IT and I don't want to lose my job, but because you need somebody to be able to go, well, actually, I've done this before at work, where I will get a request for data, and like I said last week, I do a lot of database and data reports and things like that. I have to do a lot of data analysis. And so I'll get a request from management that says, oh, we need this data. And I'll say, okay, I'm going to produce it. And then I'll give them the data, and they'll say, well, can you get rid of all these duplicates? And I'll say, well, they're not duplicates because some of the data is different between these two records. And they'll say, well, can you just write a script to have it pick one? And I go, well, that's artificial intelligence, where it has to make a decision to say which one of these two things do I want to keep. And so that's where you need a human involved in the process. I can go through that and decide, all right, here's how I'm going to clean this data up, because I can use my brain and I can think through it. You have to have artificial intelligence to actually do that programmatically. So the point is, Blizzard needs to look at some more advanced AI, but I don't think we're there yet. I think that it's where things are currently. Everybody needs to just tread very carefully. Hardcore might take a little bit of a dip. If the people who are organizing these botnet attacks realize that Blizzard is willing to restore the hardcore characters after death during a DDoS attack, it might take some of the fun out of it, and so they might stop doing it. I don't know. We'll see. Regardless, it's a really unfortunate situation that occurred. I felt really bad for all of the streamers. You could see on some of their faces that they wanted to just emotionally react, but you're on camera and you're live to your audience. And so if you act like a jerk, you act like a fool, people are going to think less of you. They want you to be able to take that death with dignity and grace. Yeah, show emotion, but you can't overreact. And I think that we've seen that happen before. People overreact on stream, and by and large, the community doesn't like that. So yeah, I felt bad for them. I really did. And I hope that they're able to come back in some capacity, but I don't know. So, all right, that's gonna do it for this segment. Like I said, I saw this, and as I started getting into it, the more I got into it, the more I realized that this is actually a very deep topic, and I could probably talk about this for hours, but who would listen at that point? So if you have thoughts on the DDoS attack, go ahead and send us a message. You can hit AzerothUnitedPod@gmail.com. Hit us up on Twitter or Blue Sky. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, you can put a comment in there as well. I'd definitely love to hear from you if you're a network engineer. I'd love to hear your critique of my attempted explanation at a DDoS attack, because like I said, I'm trying to simplify this down to a point where I don't have to get into any overly technical details, like the layers of a DDoS attack and whether there's a UDP or a SQL injection. I don't want to get into all that. I'm trying to keep this simple. So anyway, yeah. That's it. Like I said, it's unfortunate. So, all right, that's going to wrap up our show for today. Thank you so much for listening and for watching. I really do appreciate it. It is always a pleasure and a privilege for me to get on this microphone and speak to you. It's like I said before, it's been quite a ride, and I'm having a great time. So, yeah. If you want to get a hold of me directly, you can reach me on Twitter. I am at Denethar on Twitter or Blue Sky. You can reach me there as well. You can occasionally catch me streaming on Twitch. I'm Denethar01, or on YouTube, Denethar01 there as well. I might start streaming if I keep playing Classic. I might do some streams there. I don't know. We'll see. Nobody wants to watch me do Mythic Plus, so and trying to stream during Raid actually became quite frustrating for me, so I stopped doing that. But yeah, that's what's going on there. If you have any questions or comments about the podcast, or if you have a particular topic that you might be interested in hearing, please email us at AzerothUnitedPod@gmail.com. If you are enjoying the show and you'd like to help us out, you could give us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. That really helps out the distribution. If you're watching us on YouTube, you could help us out by giving us a like and a subscribe. At this point, I'd like to thank our patrons. These are people who give their IRL money to help out with the production of the show. I'd like to specifically call out our friend of the show patrons. We have Judge Omni, Stug Life, and Thelial. Thank you so very much. You definitely help make Azeroth United possible. We also have a new friend of the show patron. Welcome to Graybeard. Thank you so much for joining us. Really do appreciate it. Had some good conversations with you on Twitter, so definitely appreciate you following, and I'm looking forward to checking out your Twitch stream going forward here. So yeah, so that's going to wrap up our show for today. Again, thank you so much for listening and for watching. It's I really do appreciate it. It's lovely having people who are like, hey, yeah, your show's pretty cool. I don't know, it's kind of fun. But yeah, that's it. So remember to be good to each other out there. That's a real person on the other side of that keyboard, and just because you don't like them doesn't mean you need to DDoS them and so that you can kill them in hardcore. That's messed up. Don't do that, man. Don't. First of all, don't play hardcore. It's so frustrating. No, please play hardcore if you want to, but I can't. I'm too frustrated with it. So anyway, yes, remember to be good to each other out there. It's a real person, and they have feelings and thoughts, and they don't want to lose their character either. So just smile and wave, and if they do something annoying, well, just move on. So all right, take care. I love you all, and I'll see you in Azeroth.